How do we actually address these challenges where there is a proliferation of different formats?
Formats will keep on coming and going, and we cannot chase them.
I think an openness to all kinds of cinema, but very importantly, our own cinema.
So there has to be some basic irreducible core of cinema education.
How do we actually address these challenges where there is a proliferation of different formats? Then also challenge posed by artificial intelligence. So how do you see actually, and particularly the kind of demand for, you also say in your interviews that the demand for a structured training to writers or structured training to producers. So how do you actually see these challenges being absorbed and incorporated? What kind of a film pedagogy it would require?
I think an openness to all kinds of cinema. I know that what happens is that our traditional approach is to look at the orthodoxy of good cinema being taught. I'm not saying teach bad cinema. I'm definitely saying teach all kinds of cinema. So I think embracing the art form that is commercial Hindi cinema as well in the way that we teach ourselves is important. Because I think to have a fully formed view of being a commercial filmmaker in our country, if that's what you choose to be, whether work as a DOP in commercial cinema, as a director, etc., you need that completely well-rounded education. So I think a study of all kinds of cinema from around the world, but very importantly, our own cinema, and not just our parallel cinema or our art house cinema, but our commercial Hindi cinema, at least the ones that stand out as being worthy commercial movies that have actually been able to reach out to masses of people. What the art and science is behind those as well. Because then I feel we'll be fully prepared to enter into an environment that has the demand for well-rounded, and well-educated students of cinema.
What you are saying is absolutely right. It is very clear that FTII has the advantages of deep in craft. FTII has the advantage of being a space where risks can be taken, depth is valued, and there is a distinct cultural seriousness that we try to adopt. Formats will keep on coming and going, and we cannot chase them. But at the same time, we cannot ignore them also. So there has to be some basic irreducible core of cinema education.
So how do you see this irreducible core of film learning, which every entrant into the industry needs to have, irrespective of the formats? How would you define it?
So I'd say the craft of it is the craft of it, right? Each of the crafts, from editing to cinematography to sound to even direction and acting, I think the craft of it is core, and that will not change depending. But I think being able to be exposed to a multiplicity of all kinds of cinema rather than just one kind, being open to all kinds of sensibilities of storytelling, and not feeling like you're holding one above the other, being able to actually look at the commercialization of your art and your craft and the best way in which to, because you're a storyteller, your first story is going to be to convince someone to make your film. That's the first story you're going to tell, or your series, right? And that is not a story that should be looked down upon. Your final story will be told, but that is your first story, right? And that story very often we disregard and feel like, okay, that's going to be the sales part of it, the schlepping part of it, the schmoozing part of it, and we'll get to it, But I think if you take that up as a challenge about how am I going to compellingly be able to present to potential collaborators, whether it's actors, whether it's financiers, whether it's producers, what story I want to tell, and be able to have my 1-minute version of it, my 10-minute version of it, my half-hour version of it, my 1-hour version of it, and my full-blown version of it, and put some time and attention into that as well, and not look down on that process, because this is show business. So it's show and it's business, right? There are two parts of it. Sometimes we focus only on the show and we don't focus on the business. And I think, or sometimes we focus on the business and not on the show. So I think it's very, very important to have both parts working concurrently.